All right, it started.
Welcome in. For those that are listening after this live stream, welcome in. How's your day going?
Nice live stream 5 minutes ago. 16-second live stream 5
Oh,
minutes
I need to
ago.
go delete that.
Yeah. How are you guys doing? Currently, the Celtics lead the Knicks 24-13. I would assume the Celtics just won the game. Whenever you're watching this, of course. So.
How long was the live stream that I accidentally started?
16 seconds.
seconds. Let's go delete that.
But yeah, welcome in.
Yeah, we're trying to see if I can get the live stream pulled up to make sure it's working. But
Yeah, there's a little bit of latency, so
sure, it's not even popping up on my YouTube yet. So
that's great.
Ouija.
There shouldn't be that much latency.
There can be. It's
Really?
definitely possible.
I mean, it says I've got an excellent connection, so that's just unbelievable.
It says we are live.
Excellent. All right, let's go and get started. Right?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Yeah, let me X out.
So whenever you wanna, yeah.
Yeah. Well, whoa. That's crazy. He's trying to take my
Whoa.
button hitting privileges, man.
Hit the button.
What is up, guys? Welcome back to the Technical Foul Podcast. You're here for our first live episode. Well, you may not be here. Most people probably aren't here. But we are live for the first time.
True.
Mainly so it's just easier for us to cut our episodes up into segments so it's more palatable for the viewers. We've taken feedback in that regard, and we fully understand. A long episode can be very daunting. So we will still post the live stream. So if you want, to go through the full episode, more standard podcast format, you still can, but otherwise, we'll have what we talk about, segmented up based on what we talked about. So
yeah, to keep it in like 5, 10, 15-minute video form.
Sure.
And that way you don't have to listen through the stuff you don't like to find the stuff you do like. So
exactly,
it's for the viewers. It's for y'all. And the adrenaline rush of being live is just elite. So
it is pretty good. And obviously,
But
we
it's for the
still
viewers.
welcome anyone to join the live stream and interact with us or interact with other people in the chat. But that's not necessarily the main reason we're doing it. How y'all's days been?
I'm a little worn out. We played Angle Ball this afternoon.
Tough game.
I lost. Yeah. I hate losing, and I think Angle Ball is the one sport I am the sorest loser I am in anything.
Sure.
Which it's tough. I don't like losing, but we lost today. My brother played insane, went sicko mode. He's the only reason it was a close game. But it was fun. It was awesome. I mean, we got to play 2 days
Yeah,
in a
Harris
row.
did have a really good game.
It was not Harris. It was Wynn. Harris also, his defense was a lot better today than it was yesterday.
Yeah.
He improved a lot from even yesterday to today. So it was fun getting to play 2 days in a row. I hope we get to play again Saturday. Wouldn't mind playing a couple other random days of the week because I don't have any finals, I don't think. Or if I do, it's like one and it's open note online, so I'm
Fair.
not worried about that.
Probably should figure that out, but
Oh, yeah,
That's a
and then I
big dub.
graduate in like 8 days. So
hype.
I do know the date now. It's May 15th, I'm pretty sure.
Good stuff.
Like 85% confident.
You know who didn't lose today? JP.
Yeah, this is true. Yeah, I played really good. Sanders should not. He kind of cost his team the game because he had a lot of open shots on circle and just didn't make them.
That is true. I did miss. And then there was, I definitely did not play that great.
Yeah, I want
I
to
also
say you.
still playing with an injured back.
Sure.
Still playing with an injured back.
Cop out, but sure.
Yeah.
It hurt. At one point, there was one where I jumped to dodge a tag, and I came down and was like, okay, I'm not playing offense for the next, 2 or 3 possessions. And then there's another one where, I jumped and landed, and for some reason the ground right there was super hard, and so, there was no cushion, and it just, spasmed up my back through my leg. It was... I kind of hope we don't play. I hoped we didn't play today so that I could, rest it. And then once we played, I was like, I'm playing. I'm not going to not play.
Yeah, we got
So-
2 days to rest.
A back injury never heals. You just get used to the pain.
Excellent. That
Sure.
is
So
what I love to
good
hear.
luck. Enjoy it.
Awesome.
Yeah, I've had back injury for 4 years now. So
Good stuff. But yeah, we can go and get rolling into the meat of the show. Once again, we're going to talk about the NBA playoff games that have happened since we last recorded or live streamed now at this point.
Yeah.
And then we'll have our weekly segments because it is a Wednesday.
Mhm.
So, cock of the walk, winner, chicken dinner. Sander has a question for us that we've already answered, but we answered on the Void episode, so we're going to re-answer it for y'all.
Mm-hmm.
It's a pretty good
And
question.
I can't lose it because we're live streaming it. Like,
This is true.
did you turn up when you tested the live stream? Did you turn it up to be sure the audio sounded good? Check.
No, I didn't.
Cool. We'll just.
But
Oh, it sounds great.
Okay, bet.
I already.
it was coming through clear. I just had my phone turned down,
Yeah.
so it was coming through quiet.
Okay.
You know, maybe
That's,
the
as
audio
long as
levels
it's
are
coming
bad,
through clear.
but I did hear us.
Yeah, someone in the chat just said sounds great. So
Was it you?
Yeah, thanks for that.
that was me.
Okay, bet. Well, I appreciate that from our viewer, JP.
Yeah, I wonder who that guy is. Sounds pretty cool.
I'm getting on everybody right now. Personally,
They're busy, bro.
Are you texting everyone in our big group chat?
this is true.
That's crazy.
Some
Some of them have finals to study for.
what? Their second monitor for a reason. What game do we want to start with? Do you just want to pop up what you have, Sanders?
Up to you, man.
Do you have graphics?
I'm gonna pick it. I do have graphics. There's only 4 games happening, right?
Yes, you can just pick and choose.
I'm going to pick the game. Actually, I know what game I'm gonna start with. Let's start with this game because we watched this game last night. We're gonna start with Warriors Timberwolves,
We did start,
and
with this game.
Warriors got the dub
We did
without
watch this
Steph
game.
Curry for most of the game.
Yeah, Steph had 13 points early, and then hamstring strain, so he didn't play the rest of the game, and is gonna miss the next 3 games at least. Probably just those games, but I don't know when he comes back what kind of capacity he's gonna be in, if he's gonna be anywhere near full strength or not. But surprising game 1 win for the Warriors, especially considering Curry goes out. The Timberwolves did not play well. Anthony Edwards did not play well. Another big story is in Game 5 against the Lakers, they didn't shoot the ball well at all from 3, and that continued. I think I saw somewhere they're now like 15% from 3 across their last 2 games, which is ridiculous. Hard to win NBA games when you're shooting that bad from 3. And then Golden State side, another big Buddy Hield game. He's been huge these playoffs. Has shot the 3 ball really well. Just a bunch of big shots. Draymond does Draymond things. Jimmy Butler gives you 20, 11, and 8. Pretty well-rounded, kind of. I mean, that's, it's like after those guys and kind of pods, it's like you're throwing stuff at the wall and hoping you can find someone to give you quality minutes, whether it's Guy Santos or Kevon Looney or is it Pat Spencer?
Correct.
Jonathan Kuminga got minutes, 13 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But the real story of the game just felt like the Timberwolves not being able to hit any shots. And the Warriors are a team that's going to capitalize on that. So a huge game 1 win for the Warriors. JP, this is your team, so what do you got?
I don't think it was necessarily missing shots as much as you seem to
Knocking
think.
down.
I think the Warriors played excellent defensively.
I saw some bad Timberwolves offense in there. I'm not saying that the Warriors played bad defense because they did play great defense, but
I mean, I think holding a team to 88 is not just bad shooting. I think defense had a ton to do with it, and I think, especially down the stretch, that they played excellent defense in some spots. They had some bad fouls that led to easy and ones, but it was really the leadership from Draymond and Jimmy Butler. Draymond was huge early. He started 4 for 5 from 3, ends 4 for 10, but he had 16 early points. Curry was cooking. It looked like he was going to drop 40, and then he gets hurt. And then Buddy he hit huge shots down the stretch with no hesitation. The Gary Payton minutes were huge. The Kevon Looney was just enormous. He shows up in the stat sheet, 2.6 rebounds, 2 steals, 1 block. He had tremendous rebounds, 4 defensive, 2 offensive. Kuminga played. Gosh, he was good and bad. I don't know. It was kind of rough to watch. Pat Spencer kind of just ate up minutes, and we'll take that. But for the Warriors, it was a statement win. And even with the severity of Curry's injury, I don't think you can watch that game and think to yourself, oh, we don't have hope in this series, even without Curry. They did it literally for 35 minutes they played without Curry.
yeah.
And we're still able to win the game. So I think they've got a chance now in this series. I still kind of believe it's the Wolves to win or lose, whatever way you want to put it. They have no excuse to not go out and win games 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's just zero excuse whatsoever. They should win this series in 5 every single time. And if they don't, then it's just another statement about them that they're just not ready to take that next step. We saw this last year when they played Dallas. Ants just tired by the time it gets to the conference finals, and they just don't look like the same team that just beat the Denver Nuggets. And again, here they destroy the Lakers in a series, and then they throw up a clunker for some reason. It's getting interesting, especially with Anthony Edwards. He has these games that just wow you, and then he has a game like last night where he scores 1 point in the first half. And yeah, he scored 22 late, but a large reason that he was getting those points late was because they were trailing, and Golden State was just trying to play, extend or shorten the game as much as you can, and just keep them from being able to get it really close. There were timely threes by the Warriors too down the stretch. There's one moment before we're getting in the last 6 minutes, and then we get a Gary Payton 3, we get a Jimmy Butler 3, and a Buddy Hield 3. And that was just a huge little stretch there that kept the Timberwolves really out of it. The only player that I thought played good for the Timberwolves was Naz Reid. He really played well. 3 for 7 from 3. The only guy that shot it well, scored 19 points. Hit the shots there that kind of kept them in the game. But guys like Mike Conley were unplayable. Gobert had some good moments, but realistically he was kind of bad. Jaden McDaniels, I thought, played his worst game of the postseason so far, especially defensively. He really wasn't a threat at any point, and for the Timberwolves, that's a problem because he has the length and size and physicality and speed that there's nobody on the Warriors that should ever get by him or ever score on him, and he should really just take over the game because he's got that kind of talent, and he just did not.
Sure.
I think the same could be said about Anthony Edwards.
Agreed.
And I don't know, for the Timberwolves, it's kind of an inexcusable loss. To score 31 points in a first half is kind of inexcusable as well. Even if the Warriors are the best defense in the league since adding Jimmy Butler. But yeah, they should be in the driver's seat. There's no excuse to not win this series in 5 games. They just got to go out there and do it and prove they can do it. Otherwise, like I said, it'll just be they're just not ready yet.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, the Timberwolves came out very flat in the game and never really picked it up, and I don't know the reason for that. Sure, the Warriors have been a very good defensive team down the stretch, but there's no excuse to play that bad regardless. And especially talking about Jaden McDaniels being bad defensively. Especially with a Curryless Warriors team, there's no reason that the Timberwolves should have trouble shutting down the Golden State offense in the form of like a Jimmy Butler, Draymond Green, Buddy Hield, offensive big three. Sure, that they'll get some buckets. Jimmy will hit some tough shots. I mean, Buddy's shooting the ball great right now.
He hit the one where he was trying to draw the foul, and then he just banked in his buzzer.
Yeah, sure. But it's nothing that the Timberwolves don't have the personnel to shut down. But they didn't do it in game 1, which I do think a lot of it is when you're shooting that bad and when your offense is getting stymied that bad, it's hard to keep the energy up. I mean, the energy was sucked out of that building by, early second quarter because they just could not score the basketball. Mm-hmm. I expect them to come out a lot stronger in game 2, kind of with a fire lit underneath them. But anytime you can win game 1 on the road is a huge statement, like JP said, and it just sets the tone for the rest of the series. Just greatly, obviously winning any game greatly boosts your odds to win the series. But it's like all of a sudden the Warriors have to find a way to get 3 more, and that's.
Well, I think it, and I'm going to say pretty similar with the Knicks Celtics, that yesterday just proved to the Warriors that, we can win without Curry. Although Curry was outstanding and his early burst really kind of got the Warriors that 10-point lead and allowed them to be in a spot where they're up 10. But to the Warriors, it kind of proved that, we can beat the Timberwolves without Steph Curry. And that is a huge mental edge for the rest of the series. They're not going to go into games 2, 3, 4, and 5 thinking to themselves, okay, we've got to have a miracle to win another game. No. We just have to play excellent defense, we need Buddy to provide, and we need Jimmy Butler to provide. And if both of those things happen, if we can get a third guy to score in double figures, last night it was Draymond. If that happens, then we're in a spot where we can win any game. I think to the Warriors, and they said this specifically. They've said this a couple times already in the postseason that if they can hold the opposing team under 100 points, I think the status they're 13-1 this season when they hold the opposing team under 100 points. And so going into the rest of the series for the Warriors, it's if we can just hold the Timberwolves under 100 points, they think they have a chance. And for Warriors fans, that's the hope. And realistically, they only need to win one game to be in a spot where they could potentially win this series for sure.
Yeah.
Until Curry returns, even down 3-2 with Curry returning, that game going to be in Golden State. You have to feel that, we can win that game. And then it's Game 7, and the Warriors have, with even this core, a lot of experience in winning those games. And they've actually only lost. They've lost twice. In Steph Curry's career, they've lost a Game 7 twice. Every other time they've won. So they would have a ton of confidence going to Game 7. So for them, it's one, they've got the mental edge, proving to themselves that we can win and beat this Timberwolves team, and even on the road. And two, now it's like, well, we just got to win one to get Batman back, as they would say, for Game 6.
Yeah. It's also just they're very much playing with house money. No one expects them to win this series, especially going into it. Maybe some opinions will have changed now. I doubt it, though, just with the Curry injury. But all the pressure's on the Timberwolves to win this series. You get the good draw. You don't have to play OKC in the second round. No excuses for them not to make the conference finals. But here they are down 1-0 and not great start to the series.
You talked earlier about Edwards, or JP, you said this, how he gets tired like later into the playoffs. Is that because he's doing more on an incomplete team, or is that just like why is that you say that?
I think it was part of it last year. He plays at a high energy and a high pace, but I honestly think it's kind of for him. We give him all this high praise, and we see him do these electric things, but we have to still realize this kid is insanely young to be put on such a high stage. So he's going to have the moments where he overexerts himself, and now he's tired. Last night, you saw that, he realized his shot wasn't falling early, and he even said it in the postgame presser, I just wasn't shooting well. That was kind of the reason we lost the game. And then he starts kind of letting off the gas pedal, and that's kind of, if you're going to be the leading scorer, if you're going to be the best player on a championship team, you can't do that in the NBA.
Sure.
It doesn't matter if you're shooting poorly. We saw this in Game 7 with Steph Curry. He's shooting poorly, and he turns it on in the second half, but he continued to impact the games in other ways, getting rebounds, steals late in the game. To him, he had one turnover in that game, and that was a big goal for him. I'm only going to have one turnover so we can keep ourselves in the game. And for Anthony, he realized he wasn't shooting well, and you could tell that didn't help his effort defensively. And then also, he just starts hesitating for no reason. He is Kenny Smith said it on the TNT post game. He said Ant is so dangerous when he is attacking the rim to dunk,
Correct.
And then he decides to lay it in. Last night he was attacking the rim to lay it in, and that's why he missed. And then he hesitates on a layup. Yeah. That's why he missed 3 layups in that game as well. It's just for whatever reason it's the youth. He's just not mature enough yet to understand that.
Yeah.
I don't need to overexert myself in these spots.
22?
He's 23, if 23? I'm not mistaken.
I'm pretty 23 is what sounds right to me.
I was gonna say 22 or 23, and that's incredibly young.
It's a good point. And I do think towards the end of the game we saw him look to get downhill more and be a little more aggressive. Now some of it probably was the game was a little bit out of reach, and the Warriors were
it's too late at that point.
Correct. I agree, but it's something to hopefully he looks to emphasize more in Game 2.
I was about to say that's something we might see in this. The way the NBA works, you see these adjustments from game to game. I'm sure that the coach will be emphasizing to Anthony that
Sure.
going downhill is going to be the best way.
As good of a shooter as he's become, I still think that's the best part of his game is
Yeah.
as a driver.
And then that opens up the shooting
Yeah, I mean,
to where, I mean, even NBA, you could be shooting 15%. They're not going to miss open threes, wide open threes most of the time.
Finch said it. He said it. The head coach of the Timberwolves, Chris Finch, he said it like it's got to start with Anthony. He even said in the presser, I shouldn't have to talk to him to tell him these things. He should know as the best player on the team. But like, it's in my opinion, it's inexcusable. He was being guarded by Buddy Hield.
Yeah.
And he has 1 point in the first half. That cannot happen.
Yeah.
Buddy played spectacular defense last night, and then turned it on shooting in the second half. But
Anthony Edwards made it easy to play spectacular defense on him.
agreed. You cannot be getting stopped by Buddy Hield. If it was Jimmy Butler on him, if it's Draymond on him, sure, maybe. That's kind of a fine excuse. But Buddy Hield was shutting him down last night, and that is inexcusable in my eyes.
I agree. Once again, I think we'll see a bounce back in Game 2. I don't think the Timberwolves let themselves go down 0-2 at home. But we'll have to see. I do think also talking about Ant, last thing I want to say is, he faded last, playoffs, postseason. But that was kind of his first run, first deep run in the playoffs. So I'm interested to see how he performs in this one kind of down the stretch, especially if they make the conference finals. Has he adjusted to that? Because he's not necessarily shown that so far this, in these playoffs, but he still has a lot of games left. Even if they don't end up winning this round, there's still he can kind of flip the script.
In the NBA, you're not guaranteed the next season to be in the same spot to go out and win a championship. And for the Timberwolves, you're in a spot where now Curry is not playing for 4 games. You have no excuse to not win this series. And then with the Nuggets, with how weak they kind of are this year, because they're so Jokic dependent, and you already beat the Nuggets last year, there's no excuse to not beat them. The Thunder are younger than you are, and so you have no excuse to not beat them. They're in a spot where they could be in the NBA Finals very, very easily. They have to go out there and capture it. Like, they have to step up and take advantage of this opportunity, because this does not come around all the time. We saw it with the Phoenix Suns. We thought, okay, they made the finals. They play a competitive series against Milwaukee. Okay, they'll be back next year. Next year they have the clunker in Game 7. Chris Paul hits the shot to cut the lead to 32. Then next year they're trading, and Kevin Durant's there, and it doesn't work out, and they lose to Denver. And then the next season they run it back with Bradley Beal, and they lose to Minnesota. And they are they missed the playoffs, which is just inexcusable.
And now KD wants out.
So you have to take advantage. Not that this is going to happen to the Timberwolves, but you have to take advantage of these opportunities, because they do not come around all the time.
Agreed. And they did not do that in Game 1 at all. At all. We can go and move on to the next game unless you want to add anything, Sanders.
No, let's go ahead and move on. I was going to do Cavs-Pacers next.
Works for me. It's the only series we've had 2 games in. As we're recording, the Knicks and Celtics are playing their second right now, but this is only we have 2. And
as we're streaming, we're not recording.
True, as we're streaming. But the Pacers have a surprising 2-0 lead. After watching the first round, I don't think this is shocking, but to go to Cleveland twice and win both those games is a pretty big deal. I do know the Cavs have big-time injury issues. Garland didn't play in Game 1, and then in Game 2, DeAndre Hunter, Garland, and Mobley didn't play. So in that sense, it did feel like a game the Pacers really didn't want to get away from them. However, we watched this game as well, and the Pacers did not seem like they wanted to win this game.
Not at all.
Pretty bad basketball from them. The effort wasn't there. They're letting guys like Max Strus, Dean Wade out-hustle them, get offensive rebounds against them. Siakam's getting boxed out by Dean Wade. Just not great. And then they turn it on late, and they steal a win. Tyrese Halliburton, the clutch man that he is, misses the free throw, gets the offensive rebound, and hits a huge 3 to steal the win. Is really how it felt. They were down 7. It was another thing. They were down 7 under a minute, and only 3 teams have done it, and they've done it twice in the past week because they did it against the Bucks when Gary Trent couldn't catch the ball. So a huge win. They're up 2-0. They're going to their I don't even know the name of what's the name of the court, do you know?
I don't. I'm pretty sure it's called the Field House, but I don't remember what the sponsorship is.
That would
Gotcha.
sound right.
Well, they have they're going to their home court for the next 2 games. They technically could close it out without having to go back to Cleveland. I don't expect that to happen, but it could.
Do we have a time frame on like when some of those injured guys are going to come back?
We really don't. Darius Garland's is a toe thing, but they're all kind of game to game stuff. Like we could go to game 3.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse.
Gainbridge Fieldhouse, thank you. We could go to game 3 and all 3 of them could be healthy.
Yeah.
Healthy relative. They could all be playing.
Yeah.
Or they could all 3 be out. I did not expect all 3 of them to be out in game 2, which kind of tells me that I feel like
yeah, Mobley and Hunter played 30-plus minutes in both of them, and then Mobley's out with an ankle injury.
Yeah.
And Hunter was out with a thumb, so that was extremely surprising, which is why we sat there and like, okay, Pacers are winning this game. Why are they not favored? In fact, they were underdogs by 5.5, and so we put 2 bands on it. Not 2 bands, 200.
2 fans be crazy.
No, 2 Benjamins on it. And we're like, okay, Pacers win this easily. We get plus money on it too. And then
It looked terrible.
The Pacers awful. 32-15 in the first quarter. The energy was not there.
Said we did. I sat there and said I will not be participating because Vegas. If Vegas has Cleveland favorite, I'm not about to like jump on the other train. And JP was like, "Nah, we got it. It's free money."
It was another one of those things as a semi-professional gambler that you think it's, oh, this is so easy. This is just free. Why is it sitting there? And you go and you try to take it, and then you watch like the first part of the game. You're like, what did Vegas know?
Yeah.
What did they know? How did they know this? And the Cavs being without Mobley and Garland and DeAndre Hunter, they come out, they set the tone early. They play with a ton of energy. I mean, Pacers were just playing atrocious. Donovan Mitchell was great. Sam Morrell hit 2 huge threes. Ty Jerome was getting what he wanted. And they could just control this game for literally 47 minutes.
Yeah.
And then they choke it at the end. And, yeah, Donovan Mitchell scored 48, another elite playoff game for him. But he was the reason they lost the game. He was 100% the reason they lost the game. He just a lack of focus at the end of the game, whatever you want to call it. I would call it a lack of caring and a lack of wanting to win. He fails to box out the shooter twice.
Yeah.
And so Aaron Nesmith comes to the three-point line and dunks it, and Mitchell fouls him, and then Mitchell somehow hurts himself. And then right after that, he throws his elbow at Nesmith for no reason, commits an offensive foul. Easily could have been a flagrant, but it wasn't called. And then when Tyrese Halliburton's shooting the free throw, he has to box out the shooter. That's like something you're taught in second grade.
Yeah,
sure.
When you're shooting free throws is someone has to get shooter, and he doesn't. And Halliburton, it hits the front of the rim, and it's up in the air too. Like Mitchell doesn't go up and jump for it, and doesn't make the winning play that we have seen others make. Like when Jimmy Butler made that play in the Rockets series, specifically in Game 4, and he just doesn't make the play. And so Halliburton gets the chance, and he gets the shot, and he makes the shot. A ton of credit to Halliburton. This kid is insane. He doesn't. Again, I'll quote Kenny Smith again from TNT. He is one of those players that you don't see a lot of the time, that he can create the pace of the game, and he can control it and make you play that pace.
Yeah.
Like think of Grant and Angle Ball. He makes you play at that snail pace.
Mm-hmm.
It doesn't matter how fast you want to play. You're going to play at Grant's pace. Tyrese does the same thing. He makes the other team play at a fast pace, and that's why you're seeing in all of the Pacers games, all of them are in the 120s, and the rest of the NBA is playing in the 90s and the 80s here in the postseason, and Tyrese just has that skill where he can make his team play at a pace that the other team has to play at.
Sure. And
it works for the Pacers. It really does. It's not a lot of time just playing really, really fast. Work a ton because you're going to go through cold spells, and it's hard to continually gain confidence. You can choke leads very easily. But for them, it works because they like to come from behind, and they've done that numerous times already in the postseason. Halliburton was great down the stretch. Nembhard gets that great turnover. Nesmith was great as well. A ton of credit to Indiana. Like Jack said, they stole this game. And now they're in a spot where Game 3 is in their house, and Game 4 is in their house, and Garland's still hurt. I expect Mobley to play. I expect DeAndre Hunter to play, but who knows? And Donovan Mitchell was clearly banged up at the end of the game.
Yeah.
He got beat up in a few spots. So they are in control of this series. They have a really good chance to take it here in 4, and that should be the objective. Like, you should be sending Cleveland home in 4, and you should not be going back to Cleveland. You need to take advantage of this opportunity, go out and win these 2 games because Knicks Celtics, especially after Game 1, looks like that series might go 7-6 games. Get the rest, have the advantage, and now you're in a spot where, unlike last season, where you played 7 games with the Knicks and then you got to play the Celtics after the Celtics quickly dispersed of whoever they were playing. I forgot who they're playing. But you were behind the 8 ball. You were tired.
Yeah.
And now you're going to be in a spot where you get the chance to be rested and ready to go for Game 1 against 2 teams that you think you could beat. 1 you've already beaten in the Knicks, and 2 in the Boston Celtics that you stole some games. And objectively, that series was really, really close. The Celtics kind of held on 3 different times. So credit to the Pacers for stealing a game they had no business winning.
Yeah.
I mean, me and Jack said it like 20 times. They're like, oh, they just don't care tonight. Like,
Yeah.
they just don't want to win for whatever reason. And somehow they still end up winning this game. It was crazy.
Yeah, it's another very Pacers game in the sense of, from a scoring output standpoint, you have 6 guys in double digits. No one scores more than 23. A minor gripe I have with the Pacers, and I think we saw it especially in the first quarter. Tyrese ended up playing 36 minutes, but he sat for like 6 minutes to end the first quarter, and you're letting T.J. McConnell run the show, and Ben Shepherd is getting minutes, and Jarris Walker is getting a couple minutes. And I just feel like they are playing too many guys. I get, depth is important, but I don't like, at least the way the depth is utilized maybe, or the situational pieces of it. I mean, T.J. McConnell, I know plus-minus isn't perfect, but he played 14 minutes and was minus 15. Jarris Walker, 3 minutes was minus 8. Thomas Bryant, 11 minutes was minus 9. I really felt like it was a lot of the reason the Pacers came out flat and played bad for the majority of the game is because it felt like their rhythm was off because they just kept rotating guys in and out and in and out. And then when they closed, they just play their best guys.
Yes.
All of a sudden, it's like, oh, hey, we got a basketball team again, and they look better than the Cavs.
No, that's completely fair because, if that first unit doesn't come out and set the tone, then you're relying on the second unit to pick up the difference, and that's hard to do, especially in the postseason. So I see that. They're kind of forced to because of the pace that they play.
I guess that's
guys
fair.
are going to get tired, but we have now seen, like you said, that they are really productive, especially in the last 8 minutes. I imagine they're probably second behind the Timberwolves and how they play the fourth quarter. I think there's some truth to that. I think that could be part of the reason that you try to go out and win this in 4 is you're going to have that rest, and then maybe you can play those guys for 40-plus minutes.
It's a thing, too, of, this game probably looked worse because I think all the lower end of the rotation guys had bad games at the same time,
Mm-hmm.
so it makes it really easy to sit here and be like, wow, that really didn't work. But just something I've noticed. And then on the Cleveland side, the biggest piece I want to point out is someone that has been hyped up a lot this season, got 6th Man of the Year buzz, has had a great year, but with Garland going down and not playing the first 2 games in the series, has stepped into a larger role, a higher usage role, and he scores 2 points in 28 minutes tonight. Ty Jerome, that is 1 of 14 from the floor, doesn't hit a 3, doesn't get to the free throw line, a couple turnovers, only has 3 assists, has not stepped up in the way the Cavs needed him to fill the role of Darius Garland. I think their coach said in the press conference, he's been great all season, we trust him, he's our guy, and that's great, but he has not at all been that guy in the first 2 games of this series, and that's been a huge hole, an issue for the Cavs. I mean, 2 points from him, and we've seen, in the first round, which I know they're playing the Heat, and the Heat were sunk, but he had big games, and he's just not at all done that this series.
Yeah, that's well said. And for him, because he's going to be a liability on the defensive end every single time.
Yeah.
like a Steph Curry, like a Luka, you have to produce offensively to counteract that. And he did not do that yesterday. Max Strus was picking up where Ty Jerome should have been. Realistically, if Ty Jerome plays even a little bit better, the Cavs probably win this game.
Yeah.
It's kind of. I agree. That's kind of inexcusable, especially if you're going to be in this 6-man consideration and you're bumping up into the starting lineup. You kind of need to set the tone and be a part, because largely the 6 men that wins 6 Man of the Year are producing and scoring. They're typically the 3rd or 4th best scorer. They just happen to be the guy that comes off the bench.
Yeah, they get starter level usage rates and such when they're on the floor.
Mm-hmm.
Think about like a Lou Williams that has won it multiple times.
And Ty Jerome didn't do that. And Peyton Pritchard did in game 1. Pritchard set the tone early for the Celtics. He had quick 8 points. I don't remember what he finished with, but you're going to get thrusted in the starting lineup. You need to take advantage, and you shouldn't be in a spot where your counterparts are scoring, like your best player scoring 48, and then your shooter is scoring 23. Like, you need to step up. I agree. That's well said.
Yeah. I had something else I wanted to say. Oh, well, he's also just losing himself a lot of money. He was
Sure.
In a weaker free agent class. He was going to come in, look to kind of get a bag, and teams are at least going to second guess if this playoff performance continues and he has the series rounds out to be a full-on clunker. Teams are going to hesitate before giving him that money, because at the end of the day, you pay guys and you form teams to win in the playoffs.
Mm-hmm.
And so if he shows you he can't do that, then at least he can't do it in a focal role of the offense capacity, then you're not going to pay him to have that role. He's going to get bench player money.
Agreed.
We can move on to the next series unless you want to add anything, Sanders.
Is he saying some good things over there, Sanders?
Yeah, I was
Chris
just reading the Chris Lamonis statement. It's actually very sweet. But yeah, it was very cool. Yeah, we can move on to the next game. Let's go Celtics Knicks.
Sure. I can kick it off unless you want to.
Don't look at me.
I don't care.
You don't want to.
You got big thoughts
I don't
on Knicks
remember
Celtics?
who won this game.
That's good.
Okay, the Knicks won the game. They were down 20 at one point. Furious comeback. We've seen this a lot of time from the Celtics team. Is they kind of like to play with their food. They'll get big leads, especially at home, and then the other team will come kind of storming back. But the Celtics are so good, they typically win the game anyway. They did not in this one. Another classic.
I do remember. Brunson, did he hit a game winner?
No, he missed a game winner.
And to send it to overtime. There wasn't really a game winner in this game.
Okay.
I mean.
We were at senior dessert. That's yeah. I do remember that.
Mikal Bridges has like the game-winning steal. That's kind of the game-winning play because the Celtics inbounded with like 3 seconds left, and he just rips Jaylen Brown, who did not have a good game. Efficiency. I mean, really, none of the Celtics had the game efficiency-wise. To me, the game comes down to this. Generally, I mean, there's a lot of other small details, but the Celtics team is in love with shooting the 3-ball, and they're going to have 3-point variance, and they shot 15 of 60 today. They got some pretty good looks. I heard that like 40 of them were like open or lightly contested.
Yeah.
But even regardless of that, saying a lot of them are open, we've seen it time and time again down the stretch where Jason Tatum, who's a big, physical player, falls in love with the step-back 3 in big moments. Same with Jaylen Brown. And it cost them. Tatum missed multiple tough threes late in the game. Because while the Knicks didn't play a good defensive game holistically, they clamped down the stretch when it mattered and stayed in front of their guys. OG had a great game defensively and offensively as well. But they shot 20% from 3, and the Knicks did not shoot 20% from 3. Pre this series, and I still stand with this, I don't really think the Knicks have a chance to win this series. But I said they'd get a couple games due to 3-point variance and the Celtics injury concerns, which is the second point of Porzingis leaves after a terrible first quarter because he's sick and we don't see him again. And I don't even know if we know what he has still. I've seen nothing that's like, it's a cold. For all I know, he has a parasite or something. Highly doubt that, but he could. I saw someone on Twitter, they said he has the immune system of a like sickly Victorian child, and I thought that was pretty funny. But it's a huge game for the Knicks to storm back in the way they did. A huge confidence builder. Jalen Brunson does what he does. I mean, he misses the shot to win it, but he hit some other big shots down the stretch. Like I said, OG had a good game. He finishes with 29 and played good defense. So I'll kick it over to you, JP, and then I can give some more thoughts.
Yeah, a few things I want to give credit to Mikal Bridges. He plays 51 minutes, and he was tremendous defensively, especially down the stretch. It felt like early on we were in a spot where, the Knicks are going to really compete in this game. And then Cat gets an early foul trouble. He had like a quick 10 points to start the game.
Cat was not good at all in game one. Sorry, I had a frog in my throat.
I thought we were in for a 30-point game from him, and then he gets in foul trouble.
And he loses all momentum.
Yeah, and he just lost all momentum. He was really kind of dominating for a quick little 5-minute spurt there early on. And then he gets in foul trouble, and they were in a spot where they're just kind of out of the game. Celtics missed 45 threes. It's an NBA record in the playoffs for missed threes. They shoot in the third quarter. They shot 20 shots. Sanders, if you had to guess how many were 3-pointers, what would you say?
For the Celtics?
Yes,
18.
19. 19 of their 20 shots in the third quarter were 3-pointers. 19 of 20.
It's bad basketball.
It's just it's in a kind. And Jaylen Brown said it after the game. He said, "Yeah, and sometimes in those spots where you're shooting a bunch of threes and they're not going in, you kind of need to settle down. You need to get to the rim, get to the foul line, and we've just got to do that going on and forward in this series. And I'll be interested to see what the number ends up being after tonight.
I don't really trust them to do that as a unit, I will say, because
through halftime they've shot 21 threes, but brother. No, you're not. That's the way they play basketball.
Yeah.
And it's for me, it was really annoying. Like I want to curse right now. Kind of annoying cuz dude, you shot 1 for 10 from 3. Okay? And you are going to come out and say, "Oh, we need to settle down and get to the rim." You were dominating, especially in the first quarter or in the second quarter. And Jaylen Brown was dominating cuz he was getting to the rim and he was getting Jalen Brunson or Josh Hart on him, and he would just shoot over the top of him. And Tatum was doing the same. Tatum was hitting threes early, but Tatum was also getting to his spots and hit these mid-range jumpers. And it's just, it's stupid. It's just annoying because you can't then come out and say, "Oh yeah, we've got to do this." No, you wouldn't do it anyway. You didn't do it.
I mean, he's not wrong in that that's what they need to do, but they're not going to do it.
Yeah, and they did not do it at all. He was, in my opinion, one of the most guilty of this, especially with Jason Tatum as well, as Jack said. But it's just, for the Celtics, this is kind of an inexcusable loss because you lose a very key, important factor in this series, which was the Knicks can't beat us. And if we go out and win game 1, we've now won 5 this season. They've also would have won 9 out of the last 10 in the last 2 seasons against the Knicks. And you're going to ask New York to then come into game 2 and say, "Okay, we've got to win 4 out of 6. I don't think they would think they could do it. Now the Knicks have stolen home court. They've won game 1 because you gave it to them. And Jalen Brunson was incredible down the stretch, but you've lost the mental edge. It's very similar to what I was saying with the Timberwolves-Warriors series. They lost the mental edge in this series because they are now going to be – they're not going to be behind the 8 ball. They're at the driver's seat. They should be favored the rest of the way in this series. But you've let the Knicks get hope, and that's a dangerous thing, especially in the playoffs. To give another team hope, they're going to play with more energy. They're just going to play like we have a chance. It's something we see time and time again in the NBA. Think of the way like LeBron closed out the season when they add Luka. Okay, we have a chance. I can win a championship. Let me play hard. Curry was the same way.
Hope is a strong driving force.
Jimmy Butler gets to the Warriors, and now all of a sudden the Warriors are our number 1 defense in the league, playing Steph Curry for 40 minutes. Like that, it's a huge driving factor, and the Celtics just allowed the Knicks to get hope. They're up 9 through halftime, but the Knicks have home court. Now, you've got to go to the Garden and win a game, and historically the Knicks lose a lot of the games in the Garden, but who knows?
Yeah.
They could do it here in this series. A ton of credit to Jalen Brunson. Gosh, he's so good, especially he has fully earned Clutch Player of the Year. He is just elite in the last 5 minutes. He gets to his spots. He hits the big shots. He gets open somehow. You can throw whatever defender at him. It does not matter. I hits 3 massive threes in the fourth quarter. And yeah, he missed the game winner, but like, dude, he hadn't missed anything basically in the fourth quarter up to that point. So a ton of credit to him. OG hit some timely threes. And the Knicks have hope. Hoomps would have thunk it. Hoomps would have thought maybe the Knicks could steal game 1. I said it.
JP Pusilowski.
Yeah, I said it. I still think, I'm going to say again, Knicks in 7. They've got a chance, and now they have even more of a chance because they have the mental edge and they have home court. And now we have questions with Drew Holiday with his injury. He comes back.
He played pretty well in game 1, I will say.
Porzingis is sick. Jaylen Brown has a ton of padding on his knee. So there's just questions now for the Celtics, and the Knicks still are pretty much healthy. They have to keep Karl Anthony Towns on the floor. I said it before the series that if they're going to win a game, Cat is going to have to score 25 points in any game that they win. And they are able to win a game where Cat scores 14. So a ton of credit to them. That's kind of stealing a game, essentially.
Sure.
In my eyes. So a bunch of credit to the Knicks. A total letdown by the Celtics. To admit, 45 threes missed, an NBA playoff record. Also, for me, it was a crazy dichotomy to the opening night, which they played on opening night. The Celtics shot 61 threes in that game, and they made 29, which was an NBA record for most threes in a game. Crazy dichotomy between this game and that game. But like we were saying before the series, Celtics are due for a game like this probably once a series, so you don't expect this to be the storyline going forward. But who knows? They could be due for a second one since it's already happened so early.
It's also, they don't even necessarily have to, Knicks don't have to get them to shoot bad for a whole game necessarily. The Knicks just need them to shoot bad down the stretch, and I think that's a lot easier. I mean, the Celtics have a ton of great shooters, so I'm not going to say that's easy, but that's a lot easier than expecting them to shoot bad for full games a bunch. Even if the Celtics are shooting well, if the Knicks can just keep pace with the Celtics, and then the game tightens up down the stretch, and you're going to see these step-back Tatum threes and rough Jaylen Brown threes instead of going to the hole, the shooting percentage is going to drop by a good bit. This Celtics team feels like I'm pretty young, and also I didn't watch basketball when I was really young, but feels like one of the softest, great teams we've ever seen.
100%.
Which is why some people are infuriated with them. It feels like every time we turn a corner, and it's like, okay, here we go. Tatum's taking the next leap. He can dominate games. He can play physical. They go back to a game like this, and it's just like, come on. How are we still here?
He had been dominant, too. He's
correct. He
averaged 36 a game in the first round.
And he had a great regular season, too. He was doing it all, and he's been good defensively. And then it's like we're back to, stage 2 Tatum, out of nowhere. The Porzingis piece is huge because not only is he injured, but Sam Hauser has been dealing with some injury concerns as well.
Tonight.
Yeah, so their front court is really limited. So once again, another huge opportunity for Cat to take advantage and control this game on the interior.
He's got 14 through the first half, so he's doing it.
Yeah. What's the fouls like for him?
He only has 2 right now.
Okay, huge. For y'all watch, the Knicks are down 9 at half, so very much within striking distance, and I think that's what they want, to be honest, in all these games is
agreed.
Can we just stay within striking distance, and then we can close with our 5 that I think they trust against anyone else's closing 5.
Absolutely.
Because why would you not? Because, it's a great closing 5. You got everything you need, defense, shooting, clutch, Jalen Brunson to lead the charge. But yeah, definitely a very, very disappointing, kind of an unforgivable loss for Boston in Game 1, just with how it all went down.
Before we move on to the last game, I don't really have thoughts specifically on this game. It is just kind of crazy. The NBA right now, since Sunday night, we have not had the home team win a game.
Yeah, 5-0.
That's 6-0 because technically Rockets Warriors.
True. Yeah.
So the last 6 games we've had, currently the Celtics are leading at home, but the
Yeah.
last 6 games we've had since Sunday night, 6-0.
Last 6 underdogs.
Yeah, which is insane. So we'll see how that continues to go. Now that it starts to flip and the underdogs get to play at home, are the better teams going to come in and continue that trend? I don't know. We'll see.
Yeah.
It'll be very interesting.
You would think, I mean, NBA is not necessarily known for being a parity league, but, I mean, you are correct. You do never know. But we can get into our last series here.
Thunder Nuggets. One of the that's the other upset we had. Kind of unexpected. That was it was a close game, right?
Yeah.
Kind of.
You didn't. It was a thing where the score was kind of close, but you felt like the Thunder were in control the whole game, and then suddenly you look up from your crazy 8 match, and a big shot's being buried by Aaron Gordon to give him the lead. My half-raised eyebrow that I talked about in the last show of like, oh, the Thunder are young, and they didn't perform well in last year's playoffs, but it's a different team, is kind of raised to a full eyebrow now. After game 1, still not a massive area of concern, but Jalen Williams goes 5 of 20. I don't feel like Chet had a very good game. I mean, he misses the crucial free throws for one thing. I mean, that's the reason they lose the game. He's at the line with a chance to ice it and can't get it done, which leaves the door open. It was a bad mishandling. I think this is the biggest talk of the game, honestly, is how the Thunder handled fouling up 3.
Yep.
They did it too fast. Then you get the Shea finish at the rim, and you foul immediately without letting them dribble up. And one, because you foul immediately so you don't run any time off the clock. You could have let them dribble up and then foul. But also Jokic is on the bench.
Mm-hmm.
He's not in the game. And so I would have just played it out from that point because the Nuggets coach honestly made the mistake first because you're about to have your best player on the bench to end the game. Mm-hmm. But then you foul, you let Jokic get back in the game. So I do like the Thunder's coach. But he said in the game, he said, this one's on me. In the post-game presser, he was like, I messed up. This one's on me. But yeah, Jalen Williams has a bad game. Chet doesn't have a good game. Shea was good. You had a great Caruso game. He gives you 20, and he's not there to score. He also has 5 steals, I believe. He's everywhere. He's the guy that does.
And 2 blocks.
He's a guy that does have postseason experience. So hopefully he can kind of, steady the ship. The big thing, that maybe this is like a boomer take for me, but Jalen Williams goes 5 of 20, right? And is just kind of all jokes about it. He's posted on social media like, oh, haha, 5 of 20, like, I'm going to go private now. And it's just like, dude, I get y'all are like the fun young team, and y'all don't really take anything seriously, but this is something to take seriously. You're in the playoffs playing against possibly the best player in the world, and you're just trying to laugh off a bad Game 1 performance. Mm-hmm. It just doesn't sit right with me personally. The Nuggets side, massive Jokic game. Do you have 40 and 20?
42, 22, and 6. The 4 players in NBA history that have had a 40-20 game in the playoffs: Jokic, Giannis, Shaq, Wilt Chamberlain.
Pretty good company.
Yeah, very good company to be in. And Jokic is already pretty much amongst them in terms of the all-time rankings, it feels like. I kind of I view it from a different lens. I don't think I kind of agree with OKC that they shouldn't really feel worried. I'm not raising my eyebrows personally with how this game went. We were in control of the game, and we kind of just faltered right at the end by not even like our own fault. Just the coach put us in the wrong spot. And I still think they can get scoring from other guys. Like Isaiah Joe was 0 for 4 from 3. He's a guy that can give you 5 to 10 points a night. And Aaron Wiggins wasn't great, although his plus-minus was great in the minutes he played. I still feel like the Thunder are completely in control of this series.
Sure.
They have the advantage, again, like we said, going into the series. They're way more rested than the other team. And they have a ton of depth, and I think the only problem they're going to have is going to be Jokic, because unfortunately I did not expect this, but like Hartenstein was not good on Jokic in Game 1 whatsoever, and
Chet definitely can't guard
Chet
Jokic.
definitely can't guard him. He's not big enough, and if they switch Lou Dort or Caruso on them, like they're great defenders, but they're not big enough.
Yeah.
And so I think Jokic is just going to get whatever he wants. He could score 40 in every single game in this series. But that, in my opinion, is the way you try to beat the Nuggets, is you just let the kids, not the kid, because he's 30 at this point, but just let the dude score 40, 50 points and take away his assist and force the other guys to make shots. And Aaron Gordon made the shots in this game, and he was huge for them. Westbrook had a great game, scored 18 off the bench in his return to Oklahoma City in the postseason. So I still feel the same way I felt about the Thunder coming into this series, that they should be in control. I think the Nuggets eventually are going to tire out. They're playing so many minutes, and eventually it's just going to get to them. And the Thunder have all these bodies, and I think they played their worst game of the postseason easily.
Yeah.
They don't have the hot start to begin like we expected. They, in fact, play pretty slow, but then they answer with a good second quarter. And then they got outscored by the Nuggets in the second half. They give up 35 in the third and 36 in the fourth. And for them, they're supposed to be an elite defensive team. That's kind of an issue that they need to address. But I don't expect that to be the norm in this series. I just don't see how the Thunder are going to get outscored all that much continually throughout this series. So I don't know. As a Thunder guy, I still feel pretty confident in this team. But then again, you feel like a team should be fully in control of a series, but sometimes the youth kind of catches up to you, and you really aren't as good as you're really supposed to be. We've seen that with the Rockets.
Yeah.
And we saw that with the Timberwolves last year, and we may see that with the Timberwolves this year as well. So I don't know. I still think the Thunder win this series. They still should win this series in 6.
Yeah.
But the Nuggets, again, another mental edge thing. With all the road teams winning, it is winning the mental edge. They now have proven, okay, we can beat the Thunder when we don't have an excellent game from everybody. So we feel like we have a chance in this series. And they felt that way in the post-game presser. They felt like they had handled business with the way it looked to me.
That makes sense.
And the Thunder had the reaction very similar to the way the Timberwolves did, where it's just like, oh, we'll be fine. We'll be fine. So you could say that, and J-Dub can do all that on Instagram, but
He just better back it up.
you got to go out there and do it. I expect the Thunder to do it tonight.
I hope so. I agree. I'm not really that worried about the Thunder losing this series. As good as the Nuggets were tonight, and hopefully they were pretty good down the board. You didn't necessarily get the best Jamal Murray game. Also, Michael Porter was bad, but Michael Porter, I think his shoulder's just so cooked at this point. He's gonna be bad the rest of the playoffs. You can't ask for anything from him, which basically means they have five guys. It's like Westbrook, Braun, Murray, Gordon, and Jokic, and then you have like the Peyton Watson piece to steal minutes off the bench. But they just don't have the depth, in my opinion, to contend in this series. As good as OKC has been defensively, I agree completely that I think Jokic is in a great spot in this series, unless Hardenstein just turns it around, because I did expect Hardenstein to be better on Jokic than he was.
He was good through the first half. At one point,
Yeah.
Jokic was 1 for 6 against Hartenstein.
Which I get, Jokic is so hard to stop.
But Jokic had 16 in the fourth. He was cooking.
So I'm really not that worried. It's just, I think it's more of a frustration thing for me of like, y'all have been so good, y'all should be so good, and then you lose the game in the way you did at home. It's just it just frustrates me, because you shouldn't be down 0-1 in this series, but you are. And so
I think it's a uniform thing as a Thunder fan. I don't like those uniforms that they wear, and I also don't like the crowd when they're in those colored T-shirts.
interesting.
That
What
navy.
crowd is it? What crowd was it that I noticed it was just entirely, like, none of them were wearing the shirt? It was last night.
I don't think the Cavs were wearing.
No, the
shirt.
Cavs were. A lot of
Was
them
it
were wearing.
Timberwolves?
That's right,
white.
because they have the
Timberwolves.
diff.
Timberwolves.
It was the Timberwolves.
Timberwolves were not wearing the shirt.
We're also wearing white, but the Thunder, like their home crowds are built on the blue and the white crowds.
Sure.
And again, they're going to wear the same jerseys and the same T-shirts tonight. And I don't feel like, not Chesapeake Bay Arena anymore, but I forgot what it's called now. I don't feel like it has the same vibes and advantage when they're wearing that color, in my opinion. So I blame it on the uniforms.
That's some in-depth analysis right there.
So hopefully they can get over the uniforms because it appears they're going to wear the same color again tonight. But we'll see.
I would hope they don't get knocked out of the playoffs due to uniforms. That would be a pretty bad look.
It's possible. We've seen uniform debacles, and we saw that last night with Buddy Hield coming out there in the wrong shorts.
I saw that. He was wearing what shorts was he wearing?
He was wearing the practice shorts.
He's got to warm up in those again.
Yeah.
For a vibe.
He claims Jimmy switched the shorts on him, and then Jimmy said, "Yeah, those are the right shorts. You're good there." And then he came out to the game and believed him.
That's funny. And then he played like that with Jimmy in his head. That's crazy.
They have good vibes currently.
They've been insane vibes.
Friendly banter back and forth this whole playoffs between the two of them.
Yep. Do we want to keep moving?
Yeah, I think we can wrap up the playoffs kind of recap.
Yeah, okay, I see. I thought you were to say like with a game, and I was like, that was the last game.
We can wrap up the whole recap. We'll be back obviously in the next show talking more about it.
We do have a couple people in the live chat. We got
shout out.
Yeah,
Are
Tucker and Andrew. Yeah, Tucker said that total logo analysis, but he cannot comprehend a world where New York wins the series. I'm kind of with him. Like, I still would pick Boston to win this series.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but it's the thing of like, well, they got one, and so now they only need 3 more. Their odds have suddenly gone up objectively.
Also, apparently there's a commercial. Andrew said he cannot watch again.
What commercial?
I need him to tell us what commercial, because, I mean, we're not watching it currently. I'm trying to think. The only commercial I could think of that like I hate is the deodorant commercial. The one I'm talking about.
No, personally I don't.
The spray one.
Yeah, but it's like spray.
Oh, and then it goes in his crotch with it. Yeah.
That commercial makes me uncomfortable.
That one is
every
tough.
Time. That's the only one I can think of. We'll wait for Andrew to respond. Do we want to go ahead and move into some of your weekly stuff, Jack?
Yes, let's do that while we see if Andrew responds.
Kick us off with Cock of the Walk.
OKC matching outfits commercial. You know that one? Where Shea is wearing that one uniform, and then Chet pulls up and he's wearing, not the uniform, outfit, and then Chet pulls up and he's wearing the same designer outfit.
Yes.
And then J-Dub pulls up and he's wearing the same designer outfit.
They may be the worst basketball actors collectively of all time.
It's up there.
Any of their commercials are really bad. They just don't have good like on TV chem.
Yeah.
It's pretty rough. So I've not seen the commercial, but I don't want to see it personally.
I kind of feel like I have to watch it. We'll watch it.
Wasn't there a commercial where Shea like sang in the commercial or something like that?
Oh, I don't remember that.
Gosh, I may have to try and find it. But there's another one I remember with Shea and Chet that was in the contention for the worst commercial of the time while it was running.
It just makes me think of the meat off right now. That's all it makes me think of.
Oh gosh, poor Shea, man. Do you think that's gonna be his legacy?
It feels that way right now because he has. Well, when he wins the MVP, that'll change.
True.
A little bit. But that is kind of the big story. Besides, like, he was part of the Paul George trade. Like, that's kind of a big story of him, is whether or not he has the package to match up with Donovan Mitchell or Aaron Gordon now.
Well, we know
now
he doesn't.
Have someone
is the thing.
I feel like we have to.
We know he doesn't, man.
Sanders is claiming that Tyrese Halliburton has, but he has no proof.
All right, I'm explaining.
You don't have a source.
I'm going to explain to the listeners what we were talking about. There was last season. Was it last season where it started with Donovan?
Correct.
I think it was pre-last season.
Donovan and Shea, they both did photo shoots for Skims, which is it's an underwear brand, but they're NBA sponsors. And then Twitter went insane because Donovan Mitchell and his underwear shoot was, great for him.
It looked a little more impressive.
It was good for him. Congratulations. And then Shea Alexander, it was a tough look. It was a tough look for Shea. Yeah, for Shea. Tough look for him. And then so all of the Cavaliers fans were like, guys, we just outmeted the OKC. Like,
outmeted Shea.
Donovan just outmeted Shea. Let's go. Like, they were getting turned. They were excited. They went insane. And then just recently, Aaron Gordon did a shoot.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And once again, now Aaron Gordon has outmeted Shea. I didn't want to talk about this on the show. I was hoping it would not come up because I just feel weird.
It's a crazy concept, but let's just put it this way. the way Shea's picture makes him look.
Why are we?
I think
We
any.
didn't need more in-depth analysis.
I think
they got it.
No, I think any NBA player could outmeet Shea.
Wow.
Oh my.
What a statement.
That's crazy.
There-
Well,
Shea,
Anthony,
Shea gives off Kindle vibes, based off the one
Oh,
photo.
right.
Okay.
Based
okay.
off
I
the
could see
based
that.
off the one
Anyway,
photo.
and then
I
I
can
started
see that.
joking that Tyrese Halliburton would also do it because after he hit the game-winning three, he was just like making.
he did the big ball
He
celebration.
was making making gestures. I was like, oh yeah, Tyrese. What?
No, what Andrew said. He said in the live chat. He said, "This is insane considering the name of the segment."
Cock of the
Because
walk was on
No,
screen.
I didn't take it off, Kevin.
No, I think that you got to leave that up there.
That's funny.
That's hilarious.
That is great stuff.
Oh no, this is
but
not
yeah.
getting clipped and posted.
We're waiting on a Tyrese Halliburton underwear shoot. He recently got sponsored by a clothing company and he was in a wife beater, so we're waiting to see more from that shoot.
Yeah.
Doesn't give good signs though that he didn't start with an underwear shoot.
But
He could be
yes,
hiding something.
Sanders is claiming that right now currently.
Yeah.
But we'll see if that's true.
Anyway, cock of the walk. We can move on to the cock of the walk segment. My cock of the walk is Greg Popovich. Want to give him a shout out.
Well said.
Unfortunately, he's retiring from his coaching career due to the stroke he had early on in last season. Just couldn't get back to full health. It was honestly a little hard to watch the press conference because he can't move well. He just kind of looks like a bit of a shell of his former self. I'm really sad he didn't get to go out on his own terms. We didn't get a moment of like this is the last game that Pop is coaching, and we didn't get to kind of honor him in that way. But he's moving to be the president of basketball operations for the Spurs. He had a cool moment in classic Greg Popovich style. He's a great press conference coach. Mm-hmm. He takes off his jacket and he has an El Jefe shirt on, which if you don't know basically means the boss. So he's like, I'm no longer the coach, I'm the boss. In terms of coaching accolades, 5 rings, is the winningest coach in NBA history, has coached numerous greats, David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Kawhi, got a year of coaching Wemby, among others, Manu, Tony Parker. But yeah, took over the coaching job in 1995 in a pretty kind of iconic and baller way, is the GM of the Spurs, and basically doesn't like the coach, fires the coach, takes over the coaching job, tanks for the rest of the year, and then rattles off 20 straight 50-win seasons. Mm-hmm. Just a fantastic coach, a fantastic human being. I think you can see that well when he pulled up to the press conference and he's kind of flanked by all these Spurs greats. Mm-hmm. Talking about Tim Duncan and Manu have been at all his rehab sessions, helping him through the process. He's just a very well-loved guy in the NBA, both players and media-wise, and in San Antonio. It's pretty clear he cares a lot about the character and the personal lives of the players that he's coaching, and is involved there as well as on the court. So I'm a huge Spurs fan. I've loved the guy. I'm sad that he's no longer going to be on the sidelines, but I'm thankful for all the memories that he's given us. So
awesome.
What's your favorite Popovich memory, Sanders?
I don't really rebound boss back out to Allen.
See,
I'm
that's-
kidding.
well,
I'm kidding. I'm
that's-
kidding.
that's maybe the
that's
low
actually
light of his
crazy.
career.
I'm kidding.
Have you ever watched the compilation of his interview moments?
Mm-mm.
He can give reporters pretty hard times, in fun ways.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of a specific one off the top of my head.
He's had a lot of one-word interviews, like the ones they do between the quarters
Yeah.
as you're coming into the second quarter.
Yeah.
Like one of the things, I remember one where the interviewer was asking well, what do you guys need to do to improve here in the second quarter? And he said, rebound,
Yeah.
and then walks back to the huddle.
That's funny.
But he's been a lot of
What is working well for you in the third quarter? The ball's going in the basket.
Yes,
and then just walks off.
he's very known for that. And then he also has funny moments in games as well. Like there's one moment where he was playing against Shaq, and the opening tip-off, Shaq wins the tip, and then they go and foul Shaq 2 seconds into the game because Shaq was being guilty of the hack of Shaq.
Yeah.
Because he couldn't shoot free throws, and he did it as a joke.
Yeah.
That night, that's a really funny Popovich moment.
He got ejected 35 seconds into a game once.
Yep.
And the press conference after is pretty iconic because he crashes Michael Malone's. I think it was
I think you're right.
Presser, and he's like, "What are y'all talking about?" And Michael Malone's like, "Oh, someone got ejected, 35 seconds into the game." He's like, "Really? Like, what did they do to deserve that? Like, I can't. Who would do such a thing?" And it's like you, because
What
he
did
can
he
be a bit
do?
of a hothead. I don't remember what he did in the
Okay.
moment, but just a basketball icon, truly, a top 5 coach of all time.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Apparently, Chet was the one singing.
okay, that sounds about right. Chet, you can't sing, brother. Sorry, but yeah, I mean, I sincerely love the guy. One of my favorite sports figures of all time. So
Absolutely.
You want to keep moving?
you'll have to watch like a montage or something,
Yeah,
Sanders, to kind
for
of get
sure.
the feel. Winner chicken dinner. I went with the Winnipeg Jets on kind of a last minute pick. I was struggling to find something.
Like 6:25 last minute
Yeah.
for a 6:30 show.
Live streaming makes it a little weird. We're on a bit more of a time schedule.
Mm-hmm.
But in Game 7, they're down 3-1 and then find a way to score 2 goals in the last 2 minutes of regulation, including one with under 10 seconds left to send to overtime, where they didn't win in overtime to move on to the next round. The Jets also kind of have a history for not being great in the postseason, a lot of chokes and such. So a huge moment for them. I'm blanking on who they beat. Hold on, give me just 1 second.
I hope
They
it
beat the
was-
St. Louis Blues.
That's right. R.I.P. the St. Louis Blues, a heartbreaking way to lose.
Yeah, I saw a kid and his dad were watching the game, and the mom was filming, and they hit the shot to tie it, and the kid was devastated. But it was crazy. The kid took it better than the dad took it. Like, the kid was just like, and then the dad was cursing out and everything. It was hilarious.
That's funny.
But yeah, they play the Stars tonight. Go Stars.
Facts.
Yeah, well, I have a lot of
You have stakes on that for
I have
sure.
stakes on the Stars. So yeah, go Stars tonight. Screw
Are
Canada.
they the last leg?
The last leg? No, they're not the last leg, but they're a pivotal leg because the Thunder are already going to win the championship, so they're a pivotal second leg.
Yeah, for sure.
Andrew is correct. Thanks for that. The latest game tying goal in Game 7 history in hockey. So just a huge moment. Hockey is electric in that sense, in the kind of there's 2-ish minutes left.
Yeah.
Or a minute left. You pulled the goalie. Everyone knows you just need the one goal, and it's
It's what I love about that sport in soccer is
Yes.
there's just moments where it's just it's crazy. We were talking about when we were watching the Champions League.
Yep.
With Inter Milan and Barcelona yesterday. It feels like in those last 5 or so minutes, whenever the trailing team is attacking, they just continue to have possession of the puck or the ball, and they just have chance after chance after
Yeah.
chance. And if you're watching the team that's in the lead and you're the fan of them, it's just like, oh my gosh, we survived. Oh my gosh, we survived. And then when it actually ever goes in, it's just electric, especially for the home crowd.
Also, that one dude sold the header.
Robert Lewandowski. Yeah.
Lewandowski, Polish legend.
Shout out Jan Sommer as well. Had a couple massive saves. That is the beauty about it. It's a little different in hockey since you can kind of reset and go back at the attack so much faster than you can in soccer.
Oh,
So
yeah,
there's almost
100%.
like no moments of relief. But I know the feeling. I played goalie in high school, and it's just like there's 5 minutes left, and the 5 minutes feel like 15, and you're just holding on for dear life. And the feeling when you get it done is amazing. The relief that rushes through. But when you don't get it done, it's pretty crushing.
Yeah.
So we can move on to our Rod and Egg. Ryan Presley, brother, what the Schubert were you doing in the 11th inning of, I believe it was last night's game? 9 earned runs. Did not get an out.
Why did he stay in?
Because he was the closer.
He's good.
Yeah, but like the coach has got to be like,
Also, it's the 11th inning, so I don't know who else they had left.
true.
And then at some point, they're probably like, well, this game's over, so we're just going to let him wear it. Except they eventually had to pull him because he didn't get an out.
Yeah.
9 earned runs, 0 innings pitched, 8 straight batters reached against him. An all-time bad bullpen performance. I think he's the 9th pitcher in MLB history to allow 8 straight batters to reach in relief.
How did he give up 9 runs with only 8 straight batters?
Because you have the ghost runner and
I
extras.
forgot the ghost runners.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Forgot the ghost runners a thing.
So, just pitiful. I am.
That's kind of dumb that counts as an earned run.
Well, I don't think that's technically an earned run. He
It
gave
doesn't
9
count as-
runs,
Oh.
8 earned runs.
Okay.
Yes, correct.
Okay.
It's not an earned run. So his
That's
ERA probably is only like 15 instead of 17.
Thank goodness.
It's probably not that high. I don't know how many innings he's pitched this season. But a good reliever and a well-known reliever, just an absolute disaster class. Who they play? I should know.
The Giants.
The Giants, thank you. Not what you want to see. Ryan Presley, you are like the 4th rotten egg, and congrats on that honor.
Yeah, I don't know what his ERA was before, but it jumped up to a 7.62.
Yeah.
So I imagine it was
Pretty
like,
good.
probably a 2 or a 3 before.
Yeah.
It's pretty crazy. Tucker says in the chat, imagine giving up 4 runs and then it turns out you weren't even halfway through the struggle.
No, don't talk about 2019 NLDS, man. Vivid memory from that.
Yeah.
I get picked up from school, and I had left my phone at home on accident, so I didn't have access to the game. And so my
You
mom...
left your phone at school?
No, at home.
At
Sorry,
home.
pre going to school.
Okay.
My mom picks me up, and I'm like, I'm so nervous. I know it's game 5, obviously. It's just started. I'm like, at least like I'm going to check the score. How bad can it be? And look, it's 3-0. I was like, oh, shit. That's pretty terrible. Like, trying to recenter, like, we can come back from this. Get home, look on my phone, and it is now what became a 10-0 lead in the first inning. And I think I probably shed a couple tears because, man, Andrew, good call not going to that game. That's one of my lowest fan moments, I think.
Yeah.
And then Fulte never did anything for us again, really.
Mm-hmm.
So
It was too close to school, like the time, like it's the game started too close to school.
Yeah, I think that's what he's saying.
yeah, it was like a mid-afternoon kickoff
Oh,
or
okay.
kickoff.
First pitch.
First pitch.
pitch off.
Yeah, pitch off.
Pitch off.
Speaking of which, real quick, we actually threw today. We got
did.
our miles an hour.
Oh, gosh.
Oh, yeah.
Didn't even think about we didn't even have this planned in the show because we forgot.
I don't. Do you have the numbers? I wrote them down, but they're on my phone, and my phone is the camera.
Well, I'll go
Let
first.
me see if my iPad.
I remember my number.
I remember my number, and I remember your
mine.
number.
I
Yeah,
remember
we're good.
because I freaking yeah. Okay.
You can kick it off.
Yeah.
left to right.
I freaking nailed it. I said 54 miles an hour.
Yeah.
According to our very basically the way we did
Very.
it is we went out and measured 60 feet 6 inches, which is the distance from the rubber to home plate. And then we just took turns throwing, catching. JP would record it from an angle where you could see the release point and where you caught it. And then he just measured how long it was from release to catch. We divided 60.5 by that, and then that was your feet per second, and then changed that to miles an hour. Pretty simple, really. It didn't take super long. But there are definitely, there's just going to be some error in that.
Mm-hmm.
And we also, my dad pointed out, I think you had left by this point, my dad pointed out that we were basically treating we were putting our foot on like it was the rubber and then stepping forward to throw. So technically the release point was 4 or 5 feet
Sure.
closer. So I think I actually threw 80. No. I threw 53.9, 53 point something like that, 53.7. So my guess was 54. I
You were right there.
kind of nailed it. I actually threw that exact speed intentionally, so I'd be right.
Wouldn't that give us a slower?
Nope, fast.
Well, because you're dividing 60 and a half by that time. And if you're shortening
Oh, you're
the
right. We
distance-
would be slower.
Perceived velocity,
So
though,
we were
what we're
actually
going to look
getting
out
faster.
here. No, we're gonna take the numbers we have.
Yeah,
Because also a lot of our catching was not right over the mound,
that's true.
Yeah.
or right over the 66
And there
mark.
was no mound.
Correct.
True. There was no mound.
I threw 57, which
Yep.
was lower than what I was hoping for. Kind of a little frustrated with myself. I think I can throw faster.
Yeah.
But I haven't pitched in years, and so I think
At some point, we'll get access to a radar gun, and we'll go out there and just outfield, throw it at a wall, and say how fast can you throw, as opposed to what is your pitch speed.
sure.
Because I would be curious to see what that is, because I think mine would be a good bit higher. If I'm just going out.
I mean, I would hope
in it.
so. You
Like
just,
on a crow hop.
Yeah. Crow hop, just
sure.
at a wall, just hit this 20-foot wall. You don't have to hit a dude from 60 feet.
But yeah, not too happy with it. I know I could do better, but not to spoil JP's, I did pitch the fastest out of the 3 of us, and I think most people out there.
Correct.
everybody
you
out
had
there-
the fastest speed after
I do
everybody.
I do think Bella was throwing at least as fast as I was pre recording.
Sure.
It was tough because while it looked the fastest, there were many times I was like, "Oh man, that's the fastest," and then we would get the velo back, and it'd be like, "Oh, never mind."
Yeah, I think every pitch looked faster than the last one, especially when I was catching because Joshua was throwing, and it was. I think his was probably the wildest.
He was
of the
scary,
pitches.
man.
It was kind of terrifying.
Well, he was the
I took-
worst kind of wild. In
I
that
took
he was,
2 or 3 to the shins.
he was burying it at your feet.
Yeah, he kept burying it at my feet, and then it made it harder because now I'm like shaking behind our 2 water
Sure.
bottles, which served as our home plate, and I'm over here like I didn't know where he was going. Like it was a little terrifying being back there. My mom said we were all at a cookout, and so we just kind of did it. We had like 12 people throw, and my mom said that she's like it was all fun, and then wasn't concerned, and then Whitehead started throwing, and she was like, this is a little scary.
Yeah.
We may be going to the ER.
Yeah.
Was it yours that kept hitting me in the palm?
Yeah, I was drilling you in the palm.
Dude, Whew, that was rough. I did not like catching. It was not fun.
I wouldn't like it either. A lot of respect to catchers out there,
Facts.
even with the gear. I added a mile per hour from my time 5 years ago. So I went from 45 to 46.
Huge. If we fix your form, you're adding like 5 miles right
I
there.
think so. Yeah, it's pretty atrocious.
You don't really pitch low key. You're just throwing.
Is it a toxic trait that I still think I could throw 60 or 70? Like, even though I know
I think with the
didn't,
radar gun,
I'm just kind of like, I know I could do it. Like, I could do it.
I think if you pitch twice, or if you pitch twice a week for like a month, you could get there. I also think the mound would help, and cleats would really help in terms of traction. I don't know how much you would add, but we definitely were not in the most ideal, nowhere near the most ideal pitching conditions.
I don't know. I don't know how. I also feel like it wouldn't help that. I don't really feel like it would help that much.
Cleats?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, I just think it
Maybe
allows you to be a lot less thoughtful about and conservative in terms of like placing your feet and stuff.
That's true.
Because you're not worrying about slipping. Whereas when the grass is wet and you're in a spot where a bunch of other people have pitched and it's become kind of a little muddy,
Yep.
it gets a little icky. I don't know, but we can move on to question of the week
Yeah,
to wrap
for
up the
sure.
show.
This is a redo of last week's question of the week. What do we got going over there?
McBride was saying in the chat, with proper form and training, all of y'all could throw 70 in his non-professional opinion, or at least get close.
See, it's like, I mean, obviously Little League World Series is like, that's the best Little Leaguers in the country.
Yeah.
But they're all like 12, 13, and a lot of them are throwing 70, and all of us are like fairly athletic
Yeah.
and taller and longer and, just a little more physically mature. So I kind of agree with Andrew in that
Yeah.
sense.
That's fair. Yeah. I don't know.
We'll
We'll find out. We're going to find out at some point.
Sure.
Once we're a huge podcast, Baseball Park's going to be begging us to come and like.
Well, we're doing it at Truist, so.
That'll be tough to do, but we'll see.
We'll make it happen.
You
All
wanna
right.
Rip off the question of the week. Sanders.
Question of the week. Let me go ahead and open it up. Who is the GOAT of the GOATs? So basically, this question is, what sport has the GOAT, the number one that is so far from the second guy that like it's just not even close. So like, unlike basketball where there's a lot of debate around like LeBron versus Michael Jordan, like this is like what sport has no debate. JP, you want to lead us off?
No.
All right, Jack.
I guess I can lead us off, sure. In my very non-extensive research of this topic, I just kind of went with someone that pretty quickly popped into my head. I actually initially said Tom Brady, and then Sanders reminded me that there's more than like the big three sports.
Yeah.
So I had to reconvene, and ended up settling on Michael Phelps. Everyone knows who Michael Phelps is. I have his medal count in front of me: 28 Olympic medals, 23 gold, which is more than double the count of his nearest rivals, is what this says. He set many records, was great for a long time. That doesn't even count like the world championship medals he won and such. Just complete domination in a sport where I also feel like it's easier to find the GOAT of a like individual sport because there's no like, oh, my teammate is the reason I didn't win this, medal or win this ring, or like my team wasn't good enough. No, you're getting in the water. It's just you. Everything relies on you. And he just tore it up time and time again. So I went with Michael Phelps. You did bring up when we recorded this Into the Void, Katie Ledecky is, been kind of dominating the women's swimming scene in kind of a way we've never seen. But for like the GOAT debate, I kind of just leave it to only retired players. I want to see people finish out their careers before I start making assumptions. Because as good as she's been, she has like 8 Olympic medals.
Yeah.
So like I just like to see
Does
career
she
in
really only have
totality.
8?
Yeah, I think I looked it up last time and I was shocked at how low it was.
I do feel like she kind of had like a not late career, but like for an Olympic athlete, I feel like she kind of came onto the scene in her 20s. Whereas like I feel like a lot of other Olympic athletes, it's like 18, 19. That's kind of when they get started.
Okay, she has more than 8, but she has 14 Olympic medals.
Okay.
Which is not even half of what Phelps has, or is exactly half of what Phelps has.
It is
He has
exactly
28.
half.
So yeah, I just like not that someone can't be the GOAT before they retire, but just in my mind, I just completely like close off that conversation until they're retired.
Okay. I'm going to go with someone who's not retired. Joey Chestnut.
Dog.
Absolute.
It's a changed answer from the Void.
It is. Okay, I'll give my answer in the void was Usain Bolt. But I also just kind of like, since I didn't want to both go with Olympic athletes, like I wanted to kind of bring some variety and some spice to the show. So my new answer, and I actually do like it more, is Joey Chestnut. He holds many world records, including the most hot dogs eaten in 10 minutes at 76. He's won 15 titles, the most recent one in 2022. So yeah, I mean, he's kind of just like the unrivaled GOAT of competitive eating. And I feel like it's insane how much better he is than the next best guy.
He is the greatest eater of all time.
True. And
which
he's only 41. He's got a long career.
I don't know like
ahead of
how.
him.
I mean, that is something to be proud of, but it is kind of crazy to be like, I'm the greatest eater of all time. I'm a professional eater.
Yeah. I don't know how they do it.
I don't know. In today's age, I think it's fine for someone to be the greatest eater in the world.
Sure.
It's like it's fine for someone to be the greatest siege player in the world.
True.
I think we've grown so much in a landscape from a competing standpoint, as opposed to the just 4 major sports that there are.
Yeah. I was watching a video breaking down who is the GOAT of Rocket League. Oh, Tucker said it's Secretariat, the horse. I don't know his stats. I may have to look into like how many titles and stuff he won. McBride said it's Wayne Gretzky.
I tossed him out there too initially.
Is Gretzky really that like is the
I'm not
distance
enough of a
between
hockey
him
guy
and
to
the next
know.
guy really that far?
His production is completely unrivaled. It's one of those things like with LeBron and his scoring title. Now Ovechkin beat it, but you have to beat that record. It would be just an astronomical performance for 20 plus years.
Wait, which record?
His scoring,
The one that just got beat?
the one that just got beat, which Ovechkin did for 20 plus years,
Yeah.
was at an astronomical rate.
But I think Gretzky has more points. Gretzky has more points than Ovechkin in terms of like goals and assists, by a decent margin.
And that is a big plus. Apparently, Secretariat has the record for each of the 3 Triple Crown races, and he was the not father, but related to all of the horses in the most recent Kentucky Derby. So that's a big plus for him.
Yeah, he's got good
Generational talent.
genetics.
For me, it's Tiger Woods.
Shocker.
Yeah, he doesn't have the most majors ever, but I also for me, golf has changed entirely because of Tiger. He brought all of these people to the game. He raised the purse size astronomically. He literally made golf courses create these things called Tiger Tees because he was so damn good. They had to make the course tougher so Tiger wouldn't destroy it. You can look it up. There are so many threads on Twitter or Reddit threads as well of just insane Tiger Woods stats, and I'll read a few for you here. There are only 3 instances in PGA Tour history of a player winning 7 or more times on the same course throughout their career. Tiger Woods owns all 3 of those instances, and twice he has done it 8 times at a course. From 1999 to 2001, the PGA Championship through the Masters, Woods had the following finishes in the majors: win, 5th, win, 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 win. Meaning in that span, he had more wins in majors than he had players finish in front of him in a major. He, of course, owns the Tiger Slam, where he won all 4 titles at the same time. Now, it wasn't in the same year, but he is the only player to have won all 4 major titles at the same and own them at the same time. In the last 60 years, there's 3 instances of a player winning 5 consecutive tournaments on the PGA Tour. They belong to Tiger Woods.
All 3 of them?
All 3 of them. He's won 7 in a row, 6 in a row, and 5 in a row, which is just insane for golf. With the player field size and the fact that you're playing on a different course every time. You're not playing the same court. It's not the same size every time. Just insane. And there's so many more. But I think a big credit to Tiger is his return to glory, winning the 2019 Masters, to go from being the player of the sport, the best player by far, and then to not win a major championship for 14 years, come back after the countless back surgeries and stuff like that, and to win the 2019 Masters is a complete credit to him. And I personally think he's way better than Jack. Could just go out and watch any Tiger compilation. The shots he hits are insane. So for me, it's Tiger Woods.
Yep.
I got really confused when you said Jack for a second.
I
was
also
like,
did.
Yeah, he's a lot better of a golfer than I am. But you mean Jack?
Have you played
Nicklaus?
Jack Nicklaus?
Have I played Jack
No.
Nicklaus?
You
You
I
asking if
started
I've
to say
played?
two sentences. Jack Nicklaus is what you meant, correct?
Yes.
Have you played golf?
I played one time when I was like 12 with my dad and a friend, and I didn't even fully play.
Did they have left-handed clubs, or did you play right-handed? Oh, I forgot you swing right.
I swing right-handed.
Wild.
I'm trying to think. I think me and my dad didn't tee off any. The friend just teed off, and then we played from his lie. And I was really just out there messing around. I did water skip one of my shots.
Oh.
I asked my dad, I was like, can I try and hit one over the water? He's like, yeah, you can have one try. Did not go as planned, except then it skipped off the water and found itself safely on the other side.
That's kind of
So it did go as planned. And I remember my dad's friend made the joke that I hit a turtle and it hopped over. And my younger self believed that for many years.
Yeah, that's not how it works.
And then I realized I just skipped the water.
Just kind of physics.
When I got a little older.
Yep.
So no, I've not really played golf. That was my one go.
Yep.
And I've hit like into a golf simulator driving once, and I can't drive to save my life because I've done it once, so I don't have any good form.
It's not an easy sport.
No.
I won't pretend that it is.
I went to Top Golf for the second time the start of last fall, and that was very fun. That was a lot more fun than I thought it was going to be.
Usain Bolt did get mentioned, Jacob
Yes,
Glenn.
thank you, Jacob. Usain Bolt was my void pick, and then going into this episode where we had to kind of not redecide, but I had an opportunity to change my mind, I decided to go with Joey Chestnut. But Usain Bolt is another mention. Yeah, he's insane. It's crazy. What are you laughing about? You watching basketball over there?
No, I wish. Well, Chris Hemsworth just ate a banana, so
That's good content right
Do
there.
we have anything else to go over in this show? We can talk about George Pickens for a second or not?
We can talk about George Pickens for
Jacob
Sanders.
is here, so yeah, let's talk
Yeah.
about.
Oh,
George
that's
Pickens.
actually
And we have a
great-
Cowboys fan in the chat as well.
We have
Also true.
Yeah, so can we hear see in the chat from both perspectives how each fan feels about that?
While they're typing, I can give my thoughts.
Yes,
Go ahead.
do that.
Who cares?
Wow.
That's crazy.
George Pickens will help the Cowboys undeniably. I mean, look at their wide receiver room. It's pretty bad.
It's CeeDee Lamb and nothing else.
Yeah, pretty bad. It gives him a pretty solid 1-2 punch. He'll probably get suspended for a game or two for some reason.
Probably for throwing a solid 1-2 punch.
Didn't have to give up a crazy amount for him. A third's probably fair value. But I just think, like, over long-term season success and season outcome, this doesn't really change my outlook on the Cowboys, which is why I said who cares. I think they'll have a solid season, but I'm just not as a Commanders fan. I'm not like, oh, Schubert, the Cowboys got George Pickens, time to be scared.
In my opinion, that's kind of, I think you're completely underselling that. I think it's a great addition. It's a 1-year rental. So in my opinion, a 3rd-round pick is actually too much for a 1-year rental. And I think they're in a spot they're not going to be able to pay this guy. So it's 1 year of George Pickens.
I just think they had to give up a 3rd because everyone
team.
knew they were desperate.
And he has been kind of the only option in Pittsburgh for many years.
Mm-hmm.
And he has a right to be frustrated with the play at quarterback in those years.
It's been Kenny Pickett and Justin Fields and Russell Wilson.
And now here he is with Dak Prescott.
Well, Dak's hurt by week 7.
And Dak's
at the latest.
Okay, wow.
Dak's been hurt for 2 seasons of his career.
Yeah, he broke his foot, and then he had the issues last year.
Yeah.
And so Dak's going to sling it around. Dak's going to find Pickens in many spots, and they needed this. So in my opinion, it's the right move, because what move were they going to make where we're going to care? Like that would be my counter to you, Jack, is what move are the Cowboys going to make where you're going to care? Because this is, in my opinion, the best move that was out there that's available to them.
I agree that's the best move they could have made. I mean, that's why I said I think they ended up having to give up a 3rd because they didn't have any choice. They had to get receiver help because they didn't address it in the draft. But I mean, for example, they trade for George Pickens. Their Super Bowl odds don't move.
Yeah.
I just think overall, I'm not like...
That also might speak more to the conference they play in with the Commanders and the Eagles. Like, it's one of the harder conferences in football.
Yeah, I mean, I think...
It was crazy because 2-3 years ago, it was not, because the Giants were a joke and the Commanders were a joke, and then, I mean, the Cowboys... What year was it where the Eagles were... It was the year after they won their Super Bowl, right? I mean, the NFC East has been kind of a joke for a while. And now it's kind of become...
I just feel like
not.
Dallas had no choice. They had to make a move like this.
Yeah.
Tucker is asking...
I was going to hit on that.
Why the Steelers...
yeah, I don't get it.
Would do this move. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me either. I think they got... On the flip side, I think they got a good price for a 1-year rental. They're in a spot, like Jacob has already said in the chat, where they can't pay for him because they're about to pay for T.J. Watt, and so they won't have the capital to be able to re-sign George Pickens. They can get a guy who, in the past seasons, has kind of been a cancer in a way for their program. He does not really fit the Steeler way, and he acted a lot like how Antonio Brown acted, but Antonio Brown produced consistently, and whether that was Big Ben or not, I think Antonio Brown had a key part to it.
I agree.
He has kind of just been poor for them, especially last season. There's a moment on Christmas Day when they're playing the Chiefs and they're on a losing streak and they're trying to compete and still make the playoffs, and he shows up to the game 90 minutes before kickoff, which is kind of inexplicable. Typically, you need to be there like 2.5 hours before. 90 minutes before the game is when you start like your first warm up, and that's when he's just arriving to the stadium. So getting rid of him, getting capital, because for them it's this year. Apparently, it feels like Aaron Rodgers is going to be the quarterback, and whenever that deal is made, he will be the quarterback. So it feels like a bridge year, and so adding draft capital next season makes a ton of sense for me, and especially when you're going to be in a spot where you're not extending him, you have a chance to get some capital for him. I don't hate the trade on the Steelers side as much either.
I like it for the Steelers too.
It doesn't make sense because they just traded for DK Metcalf, and like Tucker said, it felt like all offseason has been leading to we're going to bring in talented guys to surround Aaron Rodgers, and then we're going to try and win a Super Bowl with a really good defense. And then you just trade away one of those talented guys, like Tucker said. I don't really see that because now it's Aaron Rodgers at least, I mean, when he went to the Jets, that'll be fine. When he went to the Jets, it was because he was a quarterback that wanted to win, and now it's assumed that he was going to come to the Steelers to try and win. I don't really see what weapons they're going to give him to try and win.
It won't be any different than the weapons he had in New York, in my opinion.
I think
DK Metcalf will fit the same mold that they were able to produce out of Garrett Wilson and Devontae Adams, and I don't think offensively it's gonna be Aaron's offense either. It'll be through Arthur Smith, so I expect them to rely on the run game a lot more, and then
who's the running back? Tyler.
Well, they have Warren.
Warren, thank you,
But-
Jalen Warren.
Didn't they draft a guy too?
Did they?
No, they didn't draft one of the high ones.
They didn't
no.
draft one of the high ones.
They drafted defense. But for them, I don't think this is not a season that they're looking to be ultra competitive. I honestly at this point, like, I wouldn't even sign Aaron Rodgers. I would
not either.
go ahead and tank. You already have a draft pick for next year,
But I don't
so there
think
is an incentive to be bad.
their head coach can't tank.
Yeah, you can.
He could if he tried. He just
No.
not
Yeah, you
tried.
can.
He can't even intentionally tank. He's going to stumble into 9 wins.
Yeah,
He's too good.
I agreed. But I think if they were going to commit to it, it would be the correct decision because it could really set them up for the future for next year's draft. And it wouldn't be, and for Tomlin, it's not like they're in a spot where like, oh, it's kind of a poor decision because we might get fired.
Yeah.
Like if you think about for like the Browns, like Kevin Stefanski doesn't want to be really bad this year because his job is on the line. The Giants specifically are a team where the better quarterbacks are next year, but for Brian Dable and the GM Joe Shane, there is zero reason to be bad this year because you're going to get fired.
Yeah.
Because you've been bad for years in a row now. So but for the Steelers, I think it flips because Mike Tomlin basically has the best top 5 job security in the NFL, up there with the Andy Reids and the whatnots, and Sean McVay and all of those kinds of names. So there is incentive to tank, and I mean I assume Jacob probably thinks the same way. I would hope they would tank because there's just no reason to continue to put out this mediocre team, especially in the AFC, where elite quarterback play is what carries you, and you're already in a division with Joe Burrow and Lamar Jackson and Shedeur Sanders. So
Yeah, Shedeur Sanders involves.
I don't know
belongs
how
in this
much job
conversation.
security. I think I disagree with you on how much job security Tomlin has because I wouldn't be surprised if the fan base is a little frustrated with going 500 every season and not having like a truly successful season. They were the number one. Started 11-1 a couple years ago, like in the last 5 years, but and then tailed off at the end of the season and I don't think they won a playoff game. I would not be surprised if there's actually some frustration around Tomlin and maybe a tanking season is what people are looking for to call for his job. I don't know how much job security he
not
has.
if that's the way it's framed. If it was framed that, oh, we're competing for a Super Bowl and then they were bad, maybe that's the
fair.
case. But I don't think Tomlin is the scapegoat yet because we haven't had a proven commodity at quarterback in that room for multiple years in a row since Big Ben.
Yeah,
And so-
even at the end of his career, he was hurt.
Yeah, and so the scapegoat has been, oh, the quarterback is bad, Kenny Pickett's bad, oh, Matt Canada is the devil.
True.
Stuff like that. So I don't think Tomlin's the scapegoat yet. I think he would have to. I think going 9-8, and then going into next year, and let's say you do draft a quarterback and you get Carson Beck or whatnot, and you go 9-8 again, then I think his job is on the line. But I
Right.
don't think it's on the line this season, even if they were defeated. And
Yeah.
they didn't win a single game.
I think Jacob Glenn is right here that Pittsburgh fans kind of want them to tank. Because especially if you say you're going to get a quarterback in next year's draft class, if you go 9-8, you're going to end up with Carson Beck.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas if you go 3 or 4,
14.
yeah, you're going to get Drew Aller or someone like that,
Lenore Sellers.
or Lenore Sellers. So I think it makes sense. I mean, yeah, I feel like Tomlin, if he tanks, he'll get another year. It's not like a Dabble situation where it's like if you're bad again, it's wraps. Maybe even if the perception is starting to turn a little bit, I don't think it's all the way, you know, flipped yet. Do we want to say anything else on this? I feel like we kind of talked all Steelers and no Cowboys.
No, we talked Cowboys.
I mean, I
Threw
didn't
a
say
little
much
bit
about the Cowboys. I think it's a really good trade. I disagree with Jack that like it doesn't matter. It does matter because that wide receiver room behind CD is empty, and George Pickens is a very talented wide receiver. The only reason he was drafted in the third round is because of some of that personality stuff. Not the only reason, but a big reason is that personality stuff. So yeah, I think it's a big deal for the Cowboys. I think it gives them a wide receiver room, kind of like when they had Cooper and CD or CD and Michael Gallup.
Yeah.
So I think it's going to be a lot better for Dak, and now he's got. It'll just depend on offensive line. Did they bring in a running back in the draft?
They got Jaden Blue, but he's not.
But they also signed Miles Sanders.
Okay.
Yeah,
And one other back.
Jaden Blue is like he's not a 3-down back type beat guy yet.
Okay.
I don't know if he ever will be. Yeah, I'm not going to deny. Like I said, doesn't matter. It's going to make the Cowboys better. I just think overall postseason implications, division implications, it's not a move that moves me in the sense of where it like shakes up the order there.
All right. Do we want to? I mean, thanks for listening. I guess
we're live right now, so it does not matter.
But the Knicks just went up 1.
Then the Celtics are on the Knicks are on a 19-2 run. The Celtics haven't made a shot in 7 minutes, and we're under 2 minutes. And the Knicks are up 1 with the ball with 1:40.
Do we want to finish this game on live or on the live stream?
You don't have to pull it up, but you can. Yeah, you can pull it up to watch.
Yeah, I'm not
sure
gonna.
It doesn't play the noise.
Yeah, it's not.
So we don't get copywritten. But yeah, well, I mean, let's live react with the fans.
This is cinema.
Because this is
No, I'm not
cinema.
about to.
Let me get off reel, man.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Bridges 3 misses. Horford rebound out to Tatum.
How much time you got left on yours?
Minute 17. Tatum in transition
I'm at
pass to Derek
15.
White, and a foul is called on Jalen Brunson. Celtics not in the bonus yet. Minute 15. And Sanders is ahead.
This the game.
Do you wanna?
I don't want to watch yours. I would like to watch mine.
All right, that's crazy.
Personally.
I'll just be ahead. I'll try not to tell you anything.
Celtics not
Wow.
clutch. I repeat, Celtics not clutch.
You're correct, Andrew.
Brunson. And Brown with the ball on the wing.
Are we getting play-by-play over here? I was not expecting that.
Went foul bait mode.
Josh
21
Hart
to
does not
25.
rebound, and there's no foul call on a Derek White rebound attempt. Clear foul there. Brunson to the rim. Right hand. Knicks by 3.
Wow.
Celtics 2 timeouts. Knicks 21-2 in the last 7.5 minutes.
Celtics.
Unbelievable. 2 points in 8 minutes for the Boston Celtics.
Softest great team.
Was it a field goal or have they hit a
Of
field
all
goal or was it a
time.
free throw?
No, it was a field goal. It was a
Okay.
field goal. It would have to have been with that stretch that was shown. The field goal was like 7 minutes ago too.
That's crazy.
Softest great team of all time, man.
This is unbelievable.
If they
At home,
if
I mean,
Knicks
there's-
loses, can't wait to listen to Bill Simmons' reaction. What are you gonna say?
I'm just like the trend of like I don't know.
Jacob Glenn, I have 3 Steelers jerseys: Najee Harris, George Pickens, and T.J. Watt. Tough offseason.
That is brutal.
Down
that's a
to
little-
1.
I mean, are you?
T.J. Watt's
I
not
wonder
even
if he's
guaranteed to get
scared.
extended.
I was about to say. I wonder if he's like scared that it's like gonna.
Jacob,
down.
it's okay. I have a Derek Carr jersey, so
I think that was
life
a little,
moves on.
that was a bold purchase for you.
I don't know. Yeah, I was just happy we didn't have Andy Dalton starting
Fair.
at quarterback anymore. So, man, did
Are
I?
you gonna try and
wanted
find
Shador.
a knockoff Shador Sanders Saints jersey?
No. Well, we're gonna ride with Tyler Shuck, but I'm not getting the jersey yet. Brunson 3. Kind of got fouled. OG was not out of bounds. He was out of bounds. Celtics ball with 24.2 on the clock, down 1.
Tough shot from Brunson.
Yeah, he had the space. Drew Holiday, good contest, forced him to take it weird. Nick's actually lucky that OG was out of bounds because that's supposed to be a free transition take for Celtics. Both teams in the
That they
bonus.
probably miss.
Well, you're probably looking at a step back Tatum 3 for no reason.
Celtics have the opportunity to hold for the final shot.
Why? I don't think they do that though.
Joe Mazzulla timeout to advance the ball. That timeout makes no sense.
Is that their last one, or They got one
That
more.
leaves too much time on the clock for a timeout. They have one timeout remaining. That timeout, in my opinion, that timeout makes no sense because, in my opinion, there's no incentive in advancing the ball. Just take the ball up the floor and call timeout with 13 seconds left. Now you're forced with 24 seconds left to possess the ball for 14 seconds in the half court, not turn it over, and then get into your action. You'd rather get it up to the floor, 13 seconds, timeout. Okay, now we can run the play that takes 12 seconds to run, and we
Sure.
can just inbound and run it immediately.
Yep.
Now we have to possess the ball, wait. So, yeah, I think we're due for a Tatum step-back three here.
Sure.
Because that's going to be the call. It's just an isolation.
Yep. Tucker just asked predictions for baseball. I'll go JP. What JP said. I think we're going to break the attendance record again. The vibes around baseball are very high. People are excited to come support the team. So I think we go at least 2-1, if not get a sweep. I think that the vibes are just too high and people are too excited, and it's going to be awesome. Andrew said if we get Knicks Pacers Eastern Conference Finals, is the Western Conference Finals the finals?
No,
I
because
don't
then
think
I
so.
think either of those teams, depending on who's in it, could win. Because, I mean, we've already seen Minnesota look vulnerable. The Warriors are clearly vulnerable.
Yeah.
The Nuggets are beatable for either of those two teams. I think the only team that would be feared was the Thunder.
Yeah.
Because they can do what the Celtics do at a better rate, just without the experience of winning a championship last year.
They're not as soft as the Celtics in theory.
Correct. Tatum to the rim. Tatum takes the lead. They just immediately take it down the floor. And Celtics lead by 1.
Interesting defense.
Yeah, there was no defense there
Yeah.
whatsoever. He literally gets the ball right off the
It
inbound.
was just like miscommunication.
Bad
One
crossover on Mitchell Robinson and no help defense.
Mitchell Robinson stepped too high, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Celtics now lead by 1 with 18.5.
As soon as you get that momentum going forward, you're not going to be able to stay in
You'll
front.
never guess what the commercial is. The Villanova boys. We've only seen this a few times this NBA season.
What's
I
the?
need to go find the Chet Holmgren singing commercial.
It's pretty bad. He may have the worst voice on the
What is
planet.
he singing?
I don't even remember. I think I've tried to scrub it from my memory. Y'all brought up bad thoughts earlier in the show
That's tough.
with the mention of that other commercial.
Man, I can't believe we were this close to ending the stream and now we're watching basketball.
Well, this is glorious though. Like you can't ask for better than this.
I'm excited to go hang out and watch the next game. The Nuggets. Is
I'm
that
excited
Nuggets?
to eat, man.
Oh, yeah, we got leftover
I'm a
bratwurst.
professional eater. I'm like Joey Chestnut.
JP, do we want to talk about that? Are we?
I don't. Someone asked in the chat, when is the new studio coming?
we had
A couple months.
Yeah. We had a very big production meeting yesterday, the 3 of us. We locked ourselves in a room for about 3 hours, 4 hours. We made a 10-year plan that covers the next year.
Yeah, big time 10-year plan.
But we're really excited about, what'll be coming for the podcast. And that's when we decided yesterday to do the live streams. Yeah, it's going to be, I'm really excited to kind of see what we get to do. We will be moving. We will be in a new location in the fall, which is super exciting. The vibes will be different. The vibes will be, I think, better. Did he make that?
No.
Okay.
But he'd get fouled, so
Bet.
doing what he does best, man.
But yeah, the new studio, JP is pushing
literally
for
just
the
got
new
fouled.
studio like tomorrow.
I'm joking, guys.
I would like
promise.
to be moved in by Friday, yeah.
That is unfortunately not going to happen. It will be happening. It's like after the summer.
How would you move somebody out of a room? Drop that in the chat if you're still here.
Yeah, so never mind. I'm not going to give them the details of you trying to kick people out of their rooms.
We'll get there eventually, man.
Yeah. It's going to happen. It's going to be great because we'll be permanent set so we can decorate it how we want. We're going to hang a Slugs jersey in the background.
Shout out Banana Slugs.
Yep, of course. It's
I'm gonna
be,
try and work my Wemby jersey in there somewhere.
We'll have room for your Wemby jersey. We'll get it in there.
Jason Tatum says, box out. Good comms from Jason Tatum.
Y'all are flipping back and forth on who's ahead. It's kind of crazy.
I'll take
Brunson takes the lead. Missoula doesn't call timeout. Knicks are going to bring the ball up the floor, or Celtics with no timeout. Tatum with the ball. Tatum on Robinson. Tatum to the rim. OG defending, blocked by Bridges. Knicks win. Knicks win.
Who?
Unbelievable. Awful coaching from Joe Mazzulla. That is terrible.
Bird
you
brain.
cannot call the timeout with 24 seconds left and then not call it with 12. Mikal Bridges, back-to-back games with the last stop, and the Knicks are up 2-0. Whomps would have thunk it? Whomps would have thunk it? I didn't have them going up. But
Wow.
Knicks. Come on now. That is unbelievable. Tatum drives left, help from OG. Bridges comes off, and Tatum was trying to pass it, and Bridges with the steal, and he just throws it up in the air, and the Knicks win.
Another collapse from
Knicks
the Celtics,
win.
man.
The
Yeah.
Celtics, they lose to a 25-6 run to end the last 8 minutes of the game. They score 2 field goals in the last 8 minutes. Brunson has 17 points and the Knicks lose. This is unbelievable. Mikal Bridges, back-to-back game winners.
So we got
defensively.
Knicks in 4 now.
Yeah, I think
No, but they have complete control of this series.
I don't know. We may have to start the Knicks in 4
I
campaign,
think Knicks
man.
in 4 might be happening.
The softest great team of all time, man. The Celtics are
Wow.
just brutal in clutch time.
That is unbelievable.
Jason Tatum is someone's GOAT somewhere. That's crazy.
That's tough.
We did it.
Tucker is responding. He knows how to get a guy out of his room. He said, "Leave their stuff on the curb." Oh man! All right. Yeah. Oh, thanks, JP. Wow, great reaction in
It's
chat by
fantastic
JP.
analysis. All right, we can wrap this up.
Yeah, our
Um,
first. I would call that a very successful first live stream.
Yeah, it was
Oh
fun.
my God.
I'm excited to clip up the
Yeah,
episode
I'm
into
excited.
more
I'm gonna go
palatable
home and clip those
bits
up
and
and start
pieces.
posting them tonight and tomorrow. So, for those of y'all that are here, if you see us post a YouTube video, don't bother watching it. You've already seen it. But for
Well, if you
everyone-
want to click on and give it a like, that would
Yes.
be really cool of y'all.
that's the first time we've asked someone to like a video.
Yeah, I just
Man,
sold
we're
out.
we're falling, man.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys. I shouldn't have done that. We can wrap it up, though. Any parting remarks, guys?
Knicks outscored the Celtics 30-17 in the fourth quarter. Jason Tatum had 13 points tonight.
Stinker.
Jason Tatum had 13 points tonight.
Stinker.
Unbelievable.
Kristaps did play.
I can't wait to break this game down on Wednesday. It's gonna be awesome.
Cat, as I said, needs to score 25 points for the Knicks to win games. They're 2-0 in games where he doesn't score 25 points. He had 21 tonight.
Shout out Josh Hart, man.
This is unbelievable. Wow.
Thank you, Tucker. Smash the like button. Smash the like
Celtics
button.
not clutch.
Yep,
confirmed.
this is true.
Great.
I mean, Andrew's been saying it all night. He knew.
He's been I don't know, hammering it home, and he gets vindication at the end of the night. But we'll wrap it up.
Yes,
Thanks for joining.
For real. This
If
time.
you are listening, thanks for listening. Later on, we'll see y'all next time.
Yeah.
Knicks in 4.
Yeah. Stay tuned for the Twitter and Instagram. We'll post when we're gonna go live again.